Good afternoon, everyone. Tonight we're going to go over the Matthew Farwell arrest affidavit from the FBI. So let's do it to it. Welcome back. Matthew Farwell, for those of you that don't know, is an ex-Stoughton police officer, Stoughton, Massachusetts, who has been charged with the murder of Sandra Birchmore, who was a 23-year-old ex-explorer cadet who was groomed and essayed and basically raped by Matthew Farwell, his brother William Farwell, and Robert Devine. All three of them Stoughton, Massachusetts Police Department. Her death was originally ruled a self-inflicted death, and it took the FBI looking into her case to come to the conclusion that she was murdered. His DNA was found on the ligature that was used. He was the last one seen and the last one who had seen Sandra Birchmore live. He was on video surveillance at her apartment building, going up to her apartment. And basically the Norfolk County DA's office is refusing to bring him up on state charges. So, sorry, that's my puppy. So the feds have to bring him up on murder of a witness in order to indict and put him on trial. And that's what's happening. And Morrissey, still, of the Norfolk County DA, still has not pressed charges on any of them for misconduct, rape, murder. I mean, it's insane to think that he can't possibly still believe that these guys had nothing to do with it. A lot of the same players were involved in this case that were involved in the Karen Reed case, which, shows you just how long this corruption and basically the bullshit has been going on in Massachusetts, particularly Stoughton. It's in his arrest affidavit today, and that's all I wanted to do. So here we go. Okay, affidavit of Special Agent Cheney Castruita in support of government's motion for detention. I, Cheney Castruita, having been sworn, state, and this is the introduction and agent background. 1. I have been a special agent with the FBI since June of 2022. I am currently assigned to the Public Corruption and Civil Rights Squad of FBI's Boston Division, where I investigate public corruption and civil rights offenses. I am a graduate of the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, and I have received on-the-job training and attended courses sponsored by the FBI and Department of Justice on how to conduct investigations regarding violations of various federal laws. I am a quote-unquote federal law enforcement officer within the meaning of Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 41. 2. The facts in this affidavit come from my personal observations and review of records, my training and experience, and information obtained from other agents and witnesses. This affidavit is filed in connection with the government's motion for detention. Therefore, it does not set forth all of my own and other investigators' knowledge about this matter. 3. I submit this affidavit in connection with the government's motion to detain defendant Matthew Farwell pending trial. So I guess it's his detention affidavit. I'm sorry, I thought it was the arrest affidavit, but we're still going to go over it. As alleged in the indictment charging Farwell with violating 18 U.S.C. subsection 1512, and as further described below, on February 1, 2021, Farwell killed Sandra Birchmore with the intent to prevent her from communicating to law enforcement certain information regarding Farwell's commission or possible commission of the following federal crimes. A. Using a facility or means of interstate commerce to persuade, induce, entice, or coerce then 15-year-old Birchmore to engage in unlawful sexual intercourse in violation of 18 U.S.C. subsection 2422, coercion and enticement. B. Depriving Birchmore of certain rights secured by the United States Constitution by committing statutory rape while acting under color of law in violation of 18 U.S.C. subsection 242. And C. Participating in a scheme to defraud the Stoughton Police Department and Town of Stoughton through false representations or material omissions about the hours Farwell worked in order to receive compensation for official time when he was in fact engaging in sexual intercourse with Birchmore. So he was on the clock, so he's basically billing for working hours when he was otherwise indisposed, and that's illegal also. Overview of the investigation. Number 4. On February 1, 2021, then Stoughton Police Detective Matthew Farwell killed Sandra Birchmore. Farwell committed this murder, at least in part, to prevent Birchmore from disclosing to authorities information regarding his commission or possible commission of one or more crimes, including coercion and enticement, deprivation of rights under color of law in violation of 18 U.S.C. subsection 242, and a then ongoing wire fraud scheme in violation of 18 U.S.C. subsection 1343. Farwell's murder of Birchmore was the culmination of Farwell's years-long pattern of abuse targeting Birchmore. Number 5. When she was a young girl, Sandra Birchmore was interested in pursuing a career in law enforcement and eventually joined the Stoughton Police Explorers Academy, hereinafter Police Explorers. And I think that says a lot, because she, after being in the Explorers and after being subjected to being these guys, sex toy to be passed around amongst them, all of a sudden she's not interested in becoming a police officer anymore. She decided to follow a different career path, which I find very interesting because she's always wanted to be a police officer. And then after being in the Explorers for this long and being subjected to these guys' behavior, now she doesn't want to, so that says a lot. While Birchmore was in the program, Farwell was involved as both a volunteer and an instructor. Farwell used his authority and access to groom, sexually exploit, and ultimately sexually abuse then 15-year-old Birchmore. Farwell continued this SA after Birchmore became an adult, and he continued to engage in extramarital sexual relationship with Birchmore until he killed her on February 1, 2021. Number 6. There are signs that in late 2020 and early 2021, Farwell was losing control of Birchmore and the information she possessed about his past and then ongoing conduct. In or around December 2020, Birchmore became pregnant. Soon thereafter, Birchmore told Farwell that he was the father of her child, and she wanted him to be more involved in the planning for the impending birth. In January 2021, Birchmore's friend contacted Farwell's employer, the Stoughton Police Department, and during that call referenced Farwell and Birchmore's illicit sexual relationship. Shortly thereafter, a Stoughton Police Department employee told Farwell about that call. And that employee should be disciplined also, I think. Number 7, by the end of January 2021, Farwell faced the specter of additional disclosures to law enforcement regarding his prior SA of Birchmore and his then ongoing efforts to defraud the SPD in town of Stoughton by meeting her for sex when he was supposed to be on duty as a police officer. On February 1, 2021, Farwell went to Birchmore's apartment in Canton, Massachusetts, wearing a COVID-19 medical face mask. Once inside, he killed her and staged her body and apartment to make it appear that Birchmore had died by suicide. Number 8, on February 4, 2021, 3 days after the murder, members of the Canton Police Department went to Birchmore's apartment to conduct a well-being check. When police officers entered Birchmore's apartment, they found her body. A paramedic determined that Birchmore was dead, and her body was transported to the office of the Chief Medical Examiner, hereinafter the OCME. Number 9, in early May 2021, an OCME pathologist ruled Birchmore's manner of death to be self-inflicted. Roman numeral 1, evidence that Farwell committed federal offenses or possibly committed federal offenses by SAing Birchmore when she was a minor. Number 10, Matthew Farwell started sexually exploiting Sandra Birchmore no later than 2013 when she was 15 years old. Footnote 1. Farwell was born in 1985. At that time, Birchmore was enrolled in the Police Explorers. Farwell used his position of trust and authority as a sworn police officer and instructor in the Explorers to groom Birchmore. Ultimately, Farwell essayed Birchmore, including by engaging in sexual intercourse with her. Number 11, the Explorer program is a vocational education program that enables youth to explore career paths, such as careers in law enforcement. Police departments throughout the country partner with the Explorer program to create what are commonly known as local police Explorer programs. The Stoughton Police Department chartered and facilitated the Stoughton Police Explorers. It was a quasi-paramilitary program designed to expose youth participants to various aspects of policing. Number 12, Farwell became a sworn member of the Wellesley Police Department in 2008. On March 27, 2012, he was hired by the Stoughton Police Department, where he worked until he resigned on April 1, 2022. Prior to joining SPD in 2012, he was a Police Explorers volunteer. After joining SPD, he served as a Police Explorers instructor. Just one second. Okay. After joining SPD, he served as a Police Explorers instructor. He had several roles as an instructor, including teaching firearms and explosive safety and conducting canine demonstrations. At the time, Farwell was already familiar with the Police Explorers because he had also been a participant as a teenager. Number 13, in March 2010, Sandra Birchmore applied to be a Police Explorers participant. At the time, Birchmore was 12 years old. She began participating in the program in the spring of 2010, and she remained in the program until 2016. Number 14, Farwell began to groom Birchmore when she was a child. Footnote 2. Based on my training and experience, grooming is the process of a predator building a relationship with a child or vulnerable adult in order to gain their trust, enabling the groomer to ultimately exploit the child or otherwise vulnerable person. This grooming culminated in Farwell raping Birchmore in April 2013 when she was only 15 years old. Footnote 3. Under Massachusetts law, any intercourse with a person under the age of 16 is unlawful and constitutes SA, specifically statutory rape. Furthermore, any person who has sex with a child under the age of 16, being at least 10 years older than that child at the time of the intercourse, is guilty of aggravated statutory rape. Finally, any mandated reporter who has sex with a child under 16 years old is guilty of aggravated statutory rape. During the relevant time period as a SPD officer, Farwell was a mandatory reporter under Massachusetts law. Okay. At the time of this assault, Farwell was 27 years old. Farwell continued to SA Birchmore prior to her 18th birthday. After Birchmore turned 18 years old, Farwell continued cultivating a sexual relationship with her that lasted until her death on February 1, 2021. A. Electronic messages between Farwell and Birchmore indicate that Farwell sexually abused Birchmore when she was a child. Number 15. After Birchmore's death, law enforcement agents obtained Birchmore's cell phones, both Apple iPhones and laptop, and reviewed the data on those devices. During that review, agents discovered messages between Farwell and Birchmore. The messages confirm that Farwell frequently communicated with Birchmore for years. The messages also indicate that Farwell had sex with Birchmore when she was a minor, starting in or around April 2013, when Birchmore was 15 and Farwell was 27. Number 16, data from Birchmore's Facebook account reveals aspects of the beginning of Farwell and Birchmore's online communications. Specifically, Facebook data indicates that Farwell sent Birchmore a Facebook friend request on October 28, 2012. At that time, Birchmore was 15 years old and a participant in the Explorers. Farwell was her 26-year-old instructor. Number 17. On February 21, 2019, Birchmore and Farwell had a text message conversation about Farwell taking Birchmore's virginity. Birchmore told Farwell that she was happy that he, quote-unquote, took it. Later in the same conversation, Farwell acknowledged that it was, quote-unquote, a big thing to get to be the first. Number 18. In the same text conversation, Farwell also reminisced about the first time he digitally... trigger warning for those of you that might find this difficult. Apparently it's going to get pretty graphic, so I just want to give you a trigger warning now. If this is too much for you, go ahead and sign out, and we'll see you next time. Number 18, the same text conversation, Farwell also reminisced about the first time he digitally penetrated Birchmore's vagina. Discussing the day that occurred, Farwell asked Birchmore what she would have done if he, Farwell, told her he wanted her that day. Birchmore responded that she would have told him that he could have sex with her, quote-unquote, after school. She also recalled the specific class and seat that she was in when she realized that she was going to lose her virginity to Farwell. Based on my investigation, I believe that this occurred during the 2012-2013 school year when Birchmore was 15 years old. Number 19, additionally, on March 19, 2019, Farwell asked Birchmore, what would you have done if we never used a condom and I never pulled out? Birchmore reassured Farwell that she, quote, would have still finished school with a smiley face, end quote. Birchmore then told Farwell, quote, I loved prom night. It was worth not going to prom, end quote. So she missed her prom for this piece of shit. Number 20, on February 11, 2020, Birchmore and Farwell discussed the exact day that Farwell took then 15-year-old Birchmore's virginity. This is the text exchange. Birchmore, I had butterflies so bad the day you took my virginity. Farwell, me too, it was such a big day. Birchmore, still know the date to this day. Farwell, really? Birchmore, yes. Farwell, smiley face. Birchmore, that's not a date I'll ever forget. Birchmore, it was April 10th, 2013. Farwell, smiley face. Birchmore, best day of my life. Farwell, me too. Ugh. 21. On June 19, 2020, Birchmore and Farwell had the following conversation in which Farwell reminisced about his past criminal essay of Birchmore. Birchmore, I'm glad you agreed to take my virginity, though. Farwell, me too. Farwell, LOL, if I pushed, I absolutely could have hugged you without condoms from day one. This is uncomfortable. Birchmore, probably if you really pushed it. Birchmore, I was kind of scared to say no in the beginning, not knowing how you'd take it. So yeah, you would have got no condoms. LOL. So he's coercing her, basically. B. Other electronic messages confirm that Farwell sexually abused Birchmore when she was a child. 22. Text messages between Birchmore and others confirm that Farwell sexually abused Birchmore as a child and continued a sexual relationship with her until her death. For example, on October 5th, 2020, Birchmore texted one of her friends, hereinafter person 1, that Farwell had been having sex with her for the last almost 10 years, and that Farwell had taken her virginity, quote, before she was 16, end quote. On May 20, 2020, Birchmore told another friend that she had lost her virginity 5 days before the Boston Marathon bombing. Footnote 4, I am aware that this event took place on April 15, 2013. Number 23. Also, on October 5th, 2020, Birchmore prepared a draft text message to Farwell's wife. Birchmore sent this draft text to person one. The text states in part, quote, "I am just messaging to inform you that your husband Matthew has been out cheating on you since before you guys were even married," end quote. I'm aware that Farwell and his wife got married in May of 2013, shortly before Birchmore turned 16 years old. There is no known record indicating the draft message was sent to Farwell's wife. Number 24. Other text messages between Farwell and Birchmore demonstrate his sexual interest in minors. On June 15, 2019, Farwell and Birchmore exchanged text messages in which they discussed role-playing during their next sexual encounter. Farwell asked Birchmore how old she was going to pretend to be during that encounter. When Birchmore responded 14, Farwell replied with a smiley face emoji. In another conversation between Farwell and Birchmore on February 21, 2020, Farwell describes pinning Birchmore down during sex and asks her, quote, "Will you say, Matt, stop. I'm 13. I'm not ready for this. Oh my OMFG, please stop," end quote. So he obviously had grape fantasies. Number 25. I have also reviewed, just one second. Number 25, I have also reviewed several text messages from 2020 in which Farwell instructs Birchmore to act as if he were her older brother coming into her room at night to have sex with her. That is just so disgusting. C. Witnesses confirm that Farwell cultivated a close relationship with Birchmore when she was a child. Number 26, agents have interviewed one of Birchmore's... Just one second. Damn it. Sorry. Agents have interviewed one of Birchmore's friends, hereinafter person 2, regarding Birchmore's relationship with Farwell. Person 2 indicated that shortly before her death, Birchmore revealed to him/her that Farwell started having sex with Birchmore when she was 15. 27. Agents have also interviewed one of Birchmore's relatives who described being aware that Birchmore would meet with Farwell when Birchmore was a minor. Specifically, this family member indicated that around the time Birchmore was a freshman in high school, she would tell him or her that she was meeting with Farwell so he could help her with homework. Footnote 5. Birchmore was a freshman in high school from September 2011 to June 2012. Number 28. I have reviewed a text message exchange between Farwell and Birchmore from June 17, 2019, where the two discussed how Farwell had helped her quote-unquote test prep at the library. Farwell told Birchmore that she should have told him that she was interested in having sex with him that day. Birchmore told him that she was scared to speak up. Farwell then asked her, quote, "Did you think I wouldn't want to fuck you?" End quote. Birchmore responded, "Yes, and like, 'cause of my age, I didn't want you to be like, no, what the fuck." Farwell then told her, quote, "I understand that," end quote. Number 29. In a conversation from April 5, 2020, Farwell told Birchmore that he knew he wanted to take her virginity when he, quote, "started helping her with schoolwork," end quote. Additionally, on February 21, 2020, Birchmore and Farwell reminisced about when they first became sexually active. Birchmore, I listened better back then, though. Farwell, I wish it had been a year sooner after helping you study at the library. Farwell, you still listen and give me whatever I want, baby. Birchmore, I didn't even make you wait a year after that. Birchmore, and good, but I don't think you're going to get what you want next time, so. Farwell, of course I will, I'll just take it. Birchmore, that's what you think. Good luck with that. Farwell, what was the first day you said, "Oh my God, I want this guy to be my first. I want to feel him inside me"? Birchmore, yeah. So 2012, I finally decided that I was going to try and find a way, excuse me, to fuck you and just wasn't sure how. Birchmore, how did you feel when I asked to make your dream come true? Farwell, amazing. Birchmore, good. Farwell, I absolutely would have fucked you in 12. Birchmore, in 12? Farwell, 2012. This is so uncomfortable. 30. Agents have also interviewed one of Birchmore's childhood friends, hereinafter Person 3. Person 3 confirmed that Birchmore would meet Farwell to, quote, help her with homework, end quote. Moreover, Person 3 indicated that Birchmore confided in her that she was meeting with Farwell in early high school to have sex with him in his police car or his truck. Roman numeral 2. Evidence that Farwell committed federal offenses or possibly committed federal offenses by submitting false information to obtain wages for time spent engaging in sex acts with Birchmore. A. Farwell defrauded the SPD in town of Stoughton. 31. On multiple occasions, Farwell engaged in sex acts with Birchmore while on duty as a Stoughton police officer. To cover this up, Farwell falsely represented that he had worked certain hours when in truth and in fact he was not working. Rather, he was engaging in sex acts or spending time with Birchmore. Accordingly, Farwell's misconduct was also part of a scheme to obtain wages from the SPD, an agency of the town of Stoughton, through false statements or material omissions regarding the hours he was on duty and working as a police officer. B. Farwell's text messages with Birchmore indicate that he had sex with Birchmore while he was on duty as a Stoughton police officer. 32. Text messages between Farwell and Birchmore indicate that, on multiple occasions, Farwell left during his shifts to meet and at times engage in sexual activity with Birchmore. These encounters occurred at various locations, including Birchmore's previous home in Stoughton, her more recent apartment in Canton, a Costco parking lot in Stoughton, and a Five Guys parking lot in Canton. Examples of dates and approximate start times of these encounters are listed here. These are all the dates. Holy shit. So basically, once a week, it looks like. Only one time in July, 3, and he probably went on vacation with his family in July. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in October. 5 in November, 3 in December, 4 in January. Wow. Number 33. I have reviewed messages that reveal that both Farwell and Birchmore knew that some of their encounters occurred while Farwell was on duty. For example, on April 10th, 2020, Farwell wrote, quote, I'm going to sneak away from work quick, end quote. On November 24th, 2020, Birchmore asked if Farwell would be on duty when the two were scheduled to meet. Farwell responded, quote, yes, I will be on the clock, end quote. Number 34, the text messages between Farwell and Birchmore, which precede several of the above listed encounters, contain statements indicating that the purpose for at least some of the encounters was to engage in sex acts. For example, on several occasions, Farwell sent Birchmore text messages directing her to act as if she was being raped during the ensuing encounter. C. Farwell's scheme to defraud caused interstate wire communications. Number 35. The town of Stoughton pays Stoughton police officers on a biweekly basis. In or around 2020 and January 2021, Farwell received his paychecks via direct deposit to his account at USAA Federal Savings Bank. The paycheck funds originated with Rockland Trust Bank and were deposited into Farwell's account via an automated clearinghouse transfer. Each ACH transfer originated outside of Massachusetts and or traveled through another state before terminating in Farwell's account. 36. Accordingly, it appears that by engaging in sexual conduct when he should have been performing official duties as a police officer and obtaining pay for that time, Farwell may have committed wire fraud in violation of 18 U.S.C. subsection 1343. Roman numeral 3. Farwell killed Birchmore to prevent her from disclosing information about his commission of federal crimes and possible commission of federal crimes. Number 37. As described in detail below, there is evidence that Farwell killed Birchmore on February 1, 2021, to prevent her from disclosing information about his possible commission of the federal crimes listed above. A. Birchmore's pregnancy. Number 38. On October 5, 2020, Person 1 told Birchmore that Farwell's wife was pregnant with the couple's third child. Person 1 indicated that the baby was due in February 2021. Birchmore responded that she was going to tell Farwell's wife that he had been having sex with her for nearly 10 years. 39. In summary, electronic messages between Farwell and Birchmore for the period beginning on or about October 5, 2020 through January 2021 indicate that Birchmore presented Farwell with an ultimatum. Farwell would have to agree to engage in unprotected sex with Birchmore with the goal of conceiving a child, and in return, Birchmore would not disclose their relationship. Birchmore had already told others that Farwell had been having sex with her since she was 16 years old, which she knew was a crime, and Birchmore knew that Farwell was leaving work to have sex with her while he was on duty as a Stoughton police officer. Number 40. According to text messages between Farwell and Birchmore, Birchmore sent Farwell a photo of her ovulation schedule, and the two started discussing timing their sexual encounters around specific times in Birchmore's cycle. Number 41. Approximately 1 week after Farwell agreed to have unprotected sex in order to conceive a child, Farwell and Birchmore had a disagreement about the terms of their agreement. The following is an excerpt from a text conversation on October 12, 2020. Farwell, I said the agreement was once. That was our compromise. Birchmore, I asked if we could try this month. Didn't realize that meant you fucked me once, lol. And then I asked if we could try through this year, and you said I'd think about it. Number 42. The conversation continued on October 13, 2020. Farwell, our compromise was to try once. Birchmore, yeah, it was to try this month. Birchmore, so you're thinking about the second thing I said as far as the rest of the year? Farwell, you said try once this month. If it happens, it's meant to be. Those are the exact words. Number 43. Text messages indicate that a few weeks later, Birchmore continued to discuss trying to get pregnant. On November 3, 2020, she asked Farwell if they could try again that month or whether they would need to talk, quote unquote, in person about that. Farwell responded, quote, that's an in-person discussion, end quote. On November 5th, 2020, Birchmore asked Farwell if he had given any more thought to their prior conversation, and told him that she thought of a way they could both be happy. Birchmore, how would you feel about us having a baby? You being there and signing the birth certificate. There's never going to be a need for your information anyway, so you'll be safe there. And I won't talk shit about her or your kids. That way we both get what we want. Birchmore, you asked me the other day what I wanted, and I didn't want to give it to you in the form of an ultimatum, so I'm trying to do it with you as a compromise type of thing. Can you tell me what you thought of? Just 1 second. Getting cotton mouth. Birchmore, I'm down for discussing it in person, but the more I thought about it, you signing it really isn't going to have an impact on you because of the way things are going to fall in the future. Farwell, okay, that's an in-person discussion. Number 44, in November 2020, after Birchmore learned that she was not yet pregnant, she asked Farwell about continuing to try to conceive for another month. On multiple occasions, Farwell told Birchmore that they would need to discuss that topic in person. Farwell continued to meet with Birchmore in person, and text messages suggest that they remained sexually active. Number 45. On December 28, 2020, Birchmore sent Farwell a text message informing him that she was pregnant. She sent him a photo of a poster she had made to celebrate the pregnancy. Number 46, Farwell's immediate response to Birchmore's disclosure about the pregnancy was, quote, I literally have nothing to say right now. How could you express that in text when I said I don't appreciate it, end quote. Farwell and Birchmore then argued about the pregnancy in the following text conversation. Farwell, how far are you? Birchmore, regardless of how far we're keeping it. Birchmore, but 3.5 weeks. Birchmore, which means I conceived this month. Farwell, okay, well, we need to talk then. Birchmore, no shit, that's obvious. Birchmore, and the birth certificate is being signed. Or hers isn't. Birchmore, the footnote 6 is, at the time of these text messages, I know that Farwell's wife was 8 months pregnant with his third child. Based on the context of these texts and prior messages, I believe Birchmore was referring to the birth certificate for the child that Farwell's wife was then carrying. Birchmore, no, I'm mad you're acting how you are over a choice we both made. Farwell, I'm mad you act like you gave anyone a choice. Birchmore, LMAO, oh, so you didn't have a choice? Farwell, per usual, you make and do whatever you want. Birchmore, All I did was say, can I have it? You said, have what? And I said, you know what I'm asking for. And you stood up and said, yeah. Birchmore, you've been doing that. You mad she's due in February and I am in September, and you don't know how you're going to be there for both of us. Birchmore, and you need to be there during labor for me too. Birchmore, because your kid should matter. Late August, early September. Farwell, you are truly the worst person on the face of the earth. Number 47. After the foregoing conversation, Birchmore again threatened to expose the truth about Farwell's prior sexual abuse in their ongoing relationship. Farwell responded by indicating that Birchmore had threatened him, causing him to agree to impregnate her. Farwell, for the past week and a half, the doctor wasn't right, but now she was, and you just throw it at me because now you've got me? You honestly have absolutely no idea how to treat people. I have fucking bent over backwards for you. Now you want to act like this was some free will decision. You have threatened me from the word go. If I didn't do and give you what you wanted, you would ruin me. I made a deal with you, and you changed the terms at every turn. We will deal with this tomorrow. B. Farwell's escalating physical violence. Number 48. On December 29, 2020, Farwell and Birchmore met to talk in person. After this meeting, Birchmore sent Farwell a text alluding to a physical encounter. Birchmore, it made me really uncomfortable and stressed out and scared when you were next to me because I thought you were going to hit me after you said what you said and took things out of my hand. That's why I was crying. I know you wouldn't, but it still scared me. 49. At least 3 witnesses have disclosed that in the weeks before her death, Birchmore told them that Farwell was physically violent when Birchmore and Farwell discussed the pregnancy. According to death records, Birchmore was 4 feet 10 inches tall. Military records indicate that Farwell is 6 feet 4 inches tall. Number 50. Person 2 reported that in the weeks prior to Birchmore's death, she was, quote, over the moon, end quote, about her pregnancy. According to person 2, Birchmore had decreased her coffee consumption, discussed winter clothes for her future baby, and engaged in FaceTime calls with person 2 while selecting baby clothes. Person 2 indicated that Birchmore was nervous about telling Farwell about the pregnancy, but that she eventually did. In January 2021, Birchmore called person 2 and stated that after telling Farwell about the baby, Farwell told her that, quote, he wished she just would die and he wants nothing to do with the baby, end quote. According to the information Birchmore shared with person 2, Farwell put Birchmore in a headlock and grabbed her cell phone from her hand. Person 2 told Birchmore to distance herself from Farwell, given that he was dangerous, a police officer, and obviously did not care about the law. However, person 2 was also aware that Birchmore appeared to be attached to Farwell because he had taken her virginity when she was 15 years old. Number 51. Person 3 also indicated that in the days before her death, Birchmore disclosed that Farwell had been violent. Approximately 10 days before Birchmore's death, Birchmore and person 3 went to Walmart to buy a baby stroller for Birchmore's future child. Birchmore was excited about the baby and asked person 3 to be the child's godmother. Birchmore told person 3 that the day prior, Farwell had gotten angry with her for showing him a fetal sonogram. According to Birchmore, Farwell told her, quote, that's not my child. I don't want anything really to do with you, end quote. And then Farwell pushed her to the ground. Person 3 told Birchmore to end the relationship with Farwell. Person 3 indicated that Birchmore seemed scared but not ready to leave Farwell because Farwell had been such a big part of Birchmore's life for several years. Number 52. Additionally, person 7, Birchmore's longtime therapist, reported that in the weeks before Birchmore's death, Birchmore reported to her that Farwell got upset about the impending pregnancy and shoved her. 53. In addition to these descriptions of Farwell's violence targeting Birchmore from person 2, person 3, and person 7, Birchmore's text messages to person 1 further confirm Farwell's escalating violence. On January 10, 2021, Birchmore sent person 1 a text message indicating that she had recently argued with Farwell. Birchmore told person 1 that during the argument, Farwell took her cell phone out of her hand 3 times and refused to give it back to her. Birchmore also indicated that Farwell took her computer out of her hand and used his body to shove her. C. In January 2021, there was increasing pressure on Farwell. Number 54. In January 2021, the pressure on Farwell increased as a result of Birchmore's pregnancy. Birchmore tried to communicate with Farwell regarding her due date, ultrasounds, genetic testing, gender reveals, and doctor appointments. In his text responses, Farwell was unresponsive to or dismissive of those topics, or he appeared to ignore them. On January 4th, 2021, Birchmore told Farwell excuse me, that she was going to the doctor the next day and if he wanted to know how the appointment went. Farwell did not directly respond to that question. Just one second. On January 5th, 2021, Birchmore asked Farwell to come over so they could discuss her estimated due date. The week of her first ultrasound, her conversation with her doctor, and her first appointment, Farwell did not respond directly to that request. Number 56, text messages from January 3rd, 2021 show that Birchmore asked Farwell if their child could have his last name. However, he told her he would not discuss that issue via text message. Footnote 7. Farwell's reluctance to discuss the pregnancy via text message is significant because it is inconsistent with Farwell and Birchmore's long history of text message discussions regarding seemingly private topics. For example, there are thousands of text messages between Farwell and Birchmore in which Farwell discusses details regarding his work as a police officer, his sexual fantasies that were predominantly violent and included many references to choking and rape, and graphic details about the previous sexual encounters. Birchmore, so I have a compromise for you. You don't need to sign the birth certificate, but if the baby can have your last name. Farwell, not discussing in text. We can talk in person. 57. In another text on January 6, 2021, Birchmore began to ask Farwell what their family would look like. Birchmore, you don't have to sign the BC if I'm allowed to at least list you and they can have your name, and I won't move to Stoughton or the town where Farwell's family resides. Number 2, I won't bitch about holidays, but I would like you to come a few days before Christmas and Easter so you can see what they get from me, and I don't want to leave them out. And 3, if you want to try and support them, we can talk about that, but I do want you to see them. She's saying them as like she was having twins or something. Birchmore, I feel like I'm trying to be as fair as I can, and I want you there for the labor. That I'm standing my ground on. Birchmore, last name. Farwell, okay, we can discuss this more in person. Birchmore, okay, I figured. Does it kind of sound okay to you? Farwell, it's a lot to think about. It's so much more than you have ever asked for. Birchmore, and still less than what any girl would ask for, any other girl would ask for. Number 58, on January 2021, person 2 called the SPD, and in that call referenced the sexual relationship between Birchmore and Farwell. After learning about this call, the fact of which suggested at least some aspects of Farwell's illicit conduct may have been exposed to the SPD, Farwell sent Birchmore text messages revealing his extreme anger. He sent her a series of text messages with expletives, telling Birchmore that he thought no one knew about their relationship, that she had no clue how bad this was, and indicating that he does not know if he needs to worry about other disclosures. Farwell, dude, your fucking friend called my job, Sandra. What the fuck? Birchmore, question mark. Farwell, your friend, person 2's name, just called my fucking work to complain about me. What the fuck? Birchmore, I don't know. Farwell, what do you mean you don't know? Birchmore, I literally just woke up. Farwell, do you steal from her? Did you steal from her? Birchmore, nope. Farwell, what's going on? Farwell, you also told me that no one knew about us, yet she claimed we were fucking. Birchmore, it's literally nothing. Farwell, it's not nothing. She called my job. That's insane. Farwell, why would she call and drop my fucking name, Sandra? Like, what do I have to do with you not giving her something? Like, you have no idea how bad what she did is. I literally can't believe this is even real life. Like, what else do I have to worry about now? Which other friend will do something tomorrow? Number 59, during this investigation, I have interviewed person 5, an employee of the SPD who received the call from person 2 on January 20, 2021. Number 8, person 5 did not have an independent memory of the date of the call, but I have confirmed such date through business records. Person 5 indicated that she took down person 2's name and information and gave it to Farwell. Person 5 indicated that Farwell immediately got angry and, quote unquote, pissed off, and ordered person 5, quote, not to speak about this to anyone and to never talk about it again, end quote. Person 5 described Farwell's reaction as atypical and not consistent with his normal behavior. D. Birchmore's final days. Number 60. On January 24th, 2021, approximately 1 week prior to Birchmore's death, she communicated with person 8 about Farwell. Birchmore, so the father came by last night. It was like a complete 360 change. Person 8, 180? Yeah, LOL. Person 8, good or bad? Birchmore, good but unexpected. So it kind of threw me off and made me a little uncomfortable, but that's because of how things were going. He asked me if I'd give him a key and said that if I keep it a secret, he'll be around and see them all that. So it's somewhere. Then he looked in my closet and then the bathroom, but I don't know why I haven't figured that out. Birchmore, we started to heart, then work called him, so he had to leave. Oh, and he brought me a ginger ale because I ran out. Person 8, what about the birth certificate? Birchmore, I think he's signing it, not sure. He's coming back again this week, but it was like a complete 180 from where we were at. Number 61, based on my training and experience, I believe that Farwell's shift in demeanor on or about the state was his attempt to appease Birchmore until he could kill her. Additionally, the foregoing text messages, considered in light of the other evidence, suggests that Farwell was making a plan to kill Birchmore. Part of that plan including asking Birchmore to give him a key and keep it secret. Another part of that plan was inspecting various rooms of Birchmore's apartment, including the closet, to determine whether they contained items or presented options for how and when to kill Birchmore. Number 9. Footnote 9. On February 4, 2021, Canton police found Birchmore's body next to the closet door with a duffel bag strap around her neck. The strap was wrapped around the closet door handle. Number 62. Farwell's request for a key for Birchmore's apartment in the week leading up to her death is corroborated by other evidence. I have reviewed text messages between Farwell and Birchmore from January 24th, 2021, in which Birchmore gave Farwell the passcode to her building's front door and told him, quote, I have your key too when you want it, end quote. Additionally, I have reviewed records from Walmart that suggest that Birchmore did, in fact, pay approximately $2 to have a key copied at approximately 11:10 a.m. on January 24th, 2021. Okay, I need a break. So we're going to watch a video. Just 1 second. Okay. Her name is Mitzi. And I just have to find it. Okay. Here we go.
Didn't know how to get started, and she knew exactly what to do.
In 2022, September, I found out about Sandra Bertram's case, and I dug into it a little bit, and I was enraged that nothing was happening on her case. It was just said that, 3 officers had an inappropriate relationship with Sandra, and I couldn't believe nobody was talking about it. And then in early 2023, I messaged a bunch of Sandra's family members, and Barb was the only one who got back to me. Her last name's Wright, and it's perfect because it was right. We clicked and we started doing the page, and we began there, and we started, doing a social media campaign right from there.
Well, we started the page to as a way of saying that we didn't think it was a suicide.
We do standouts usually around once a month. When we started, a lot of people in Stoughton didn't even know about Sandra's case. It was to make sure that Sandra's name was staying out there. She wasn't being lost in the noise of other cases.
It's amazing to see people come out that didn't even know Sandra, giving up their Saturdays, their Sundays, to stand out in all kinds of weather for Sandra. It's amazing.
Been helped by our pages. We educate the public on Sandra's case, but we also educate the public on grooming and to look for signs. And we want to make sure that Sandra's legacy isn't just what happened to her, a living, breathing person who had dreams and hopes. She was about to go to nursing school. She was excited that she was pregnant and gonna have a baby. And she had so many hopes and dreams and goals. I'm not Sandra's voice, but I'm part of continuing to be able to speak for her and make sure she's not lost. And we want to make sure that we continue doing our work so we can ensure that she gets justice.
AT&T's fast, reliable network makes it so easy to stay connected to my drivers. Yeah, how's it going?
Almost there, got a little.
Always so full of life. Morgan was totally somebody that
So, just 1 second. I think Okay, and then this one.
In the 19 months since Matthew Farwell's arrest, federal prosecutors say the evidence proving he murdered his secret pregnant girlfriend, Sandra Birchmore, and made it look like a suicide has only gotten stronger. And this week, they may have their strongest evidence yet. There is a new memo from prosecutors that states, quote, Farwell's DNA was found on the ligature that tied Birchmore's neck to a closet door handle. They also say that Farwell's DNA was found on multiple locations on the underwear that Birchmore was wearing when she was found dead in her Canton apartment in 2021. But here's what's so stunning. That DNA was there all along. According to prosecutors, state investigators found male DNA at the scene back in 2021, but never tested it against Farwell and ruled Birchmore's death a suicide. They also claim both Canton and state police knew Farwell was the man in this surveillance video seen entering and leaving Birchmore's apartment, but only had a brief conversation with him about her death. And in that meeting, prosecutors say police didn't even ask for a DNA sample or seize his phone. And in the memo, which laid out the arguments for why Farwell should remain detained while awaiting trial, prosecutors also point to his behavior after Birchmore's death. They claim he joked about it, and that two witnesses told federal agents that Farwell reenacted her death while intoxicated with friends, sitting under a doorknob, demonstrating a position she was found in, attempting to show how someone could do this to themselves. The problem is, prosecutors say, that detail hadn't been publicly revealed at that time. So how would he know that? Now, to be clear, these are all allegations from prosecutors. Matthew Farwell has pleaded not guilty. He is innocent until proven guilty. But this is a big development, and these new alleged details have sparked fresh outrage online, including in the Facebook group Justice for Sandra Birchmore, which was started by my next guest, Melissa Berry, who's followed the case since the start. Thank you so much for taking the time. You have been at the forefront of this case. When you read this new filing, what hit you the hardest?
The DNA part, that they had this DNA and they didn't test it. You know, everybody is like raging on our page that why didn't they test the DNA? Why hasn't Michael Morrissey, the district attorney in Norfolk County, why didn't they charge him? Why did they allow this man to stay on the streets for 3.5 years before the feds were able to come in and arrest him and get him off the streets?
Yeah, the DNA evidence is like the headline there. But there was also this part, they say that he was in allegedly in several sexual relationships at the time, including one after Birchmore's death where the young woman allegedly may have been drugged. How does those allegations sit with you?
I actually knew about those allegations. I interviewed her, and it sickened me that while he was being investigated by his own police department, that he was, doing this kind of behavior while, the police department's looking into him for the murder. Actually, they were looking into his behavior, and the Massachusetts State Police were looking into Sandra's death. So while this is all going on, he was, exhibiting this behavior.
Yeah. And by the way, going back to the DNA, my understanding is his DNA has excluded him as the biological father of Sandra Birchmore's unborn baby, who, by the way, prosecutors say he believed he was when he allegedly killed her. So it goes to this idea of motive. They say it's going to be relevant at trial. But the problem is, we still don't know who the father is, right? And how important is that unanswered question to the story, to the case, in your mind?
It's a part of the case that, I think everybody wants to know. But to me, it wasn't the factor of why he murdered her. The reason why she was killed was to silence her. Sandra was telling too many people about their relationship. She was threatening to tell his wife. So there were the reasons why she needed to be silenced was because too many people were finding out. And not too long before she was killed, one of her friends spoke to somebody at his job. So his job was being threatened. His wife was being, threatened to be told, and his world was about to crash, all around him. So that's why I believe that's why he had to silence Sandra.
And I also understand prosecutors have alleged that Birchmore was abused by 3 other police officers, including Farwell's twin brother and fellow police officer, the Deputy Chief Robert Devine. And according to the new documents, this Army recruiter, do you believe that alleged pattern played a role in maybe the delay of justice in this case, the way you see it?
Possibly, but this young woman was groomed from the age of 13 to, she was 23 and her life was taken away. And so I think, them maybe thinking she was promiscuous when it wasn't like that. She was a child that was groomed to act like this. She was, these officers took advantage of a very vulnerable young woman, and that's what ended up leading up to her death, unfortunately.
Do you think anybody else would be implicated in this?
I'm hoping that, the other officers that abused her also, have charges put against them. It's not right that it's only this charge that's been put out there. I think everybody who abused Sandra, they should all be charged and have their day in front of a jury.
Well, listen, I appreciate you coming on. The lawyer in me just has to reiterate this. These are allegations at this point, okay? He hasn't been proven guilty. He'll have his day in court. But look, this is a major development, major accusations put forward by the prosecution. And Melissa Berry, thank you for taking the time and putting it in context for us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation.
So, yeah, what do you think about that? I didn't know about the Army recruiter, so that's something new to me. But yeah, I agree. I think all these officers that were involved in the grooming and sexual abuse of Sandra Birchmore all need to face their day in court. So let's continue on. I don't know if it's 45 pages long. I don't think we're gonna finish reading it today because it's just too much to read at one time. I mean, it's like it's mind numbing. So we'll go to we'll finish this page and then we'll be done for today. Okay. Number 63. According to text messages Birchmore and Farwell exchanged on January 29, 2021, Birchmore again gave Farwell the passcode to her building's front door, and Farwell verified that the code was the general one given to the entire building, not just one assigned to her. 64. Farwell requesting or accepting a key to Birchmore's apartment was a sudden change from recent conversations. I have reviewed text messages between Farwell and Birchmore, one as recent as October 14, 2020, in which Farwell told her that he did not think it was a good idea for him to keep a key to her New Canton apartment. In a conversation with her friend, Person 9, on January 24, 2021, Birchmore indicated that she was surprised that Farwell was now requesting a key to her apartment. Person 9, did it go good with him? Birchmore, I got hit with a shocker question. Can I call you? So surprisingly, he asked if he could have a key. I am basically said he'll be around as long as I keep it a secret and don't tell anybody. But he did admit that I do have the upper hand in the situation, which isn't a good thing, but I'm trying to and not be that person, if you know what I mean. Person 9, I get it. Are you going to give him a key? Birchmore, I just made a copy of it. Yeah. Person 9, that's good. Birchmore, I'm not going to give it to him yet, but he also brought me a ginger ale last night like I asked him to. Person 9, he's coming around. Birchmore, a lot more than I thought he was going to, yes. I still have to verify the PIN for him to get into the apartment if he rings me and I don't answer. But like last night, he opened my closet door for something, and then he went in my bathroom looking at my bathroom And that was just really odd. He started looking around. I don't know. Person 9, that's weird. Birchmore, yeah, it was really weird. 2 days before Birchmore's death, she continued to engage Farwell about planning for the birth of their child. On January 30th, 2021, Birchmore asked Farwell if she could tell him the baby names she was considering. Farwell told her he would rather discuss that topic in person. 66 This planning is of note because it indicates that shortly before her death, Birchmore was doing things that indicated her plans for the future. It is also important because it reveals a level of care for her pets that is inconsistent with the circumstances of her death. Specifically, when police found Birchmore's body in her apartment on February 4th, 2021, her cats were present. She had made no arrangements for the animals. She ordered baby items and conducted Google searches related to her pregnancy and future child rearing decisions. She also planned for newborn baby photos, an official pregnancy announcement, which she planned to do on Valentine's Day, as well as a gender reveal. Footnote 11. During the investigation, agents also learned that Birchmore had been taking classes in preparation for applying to nursing school. She also made plans for her more immediate future, scheduling an OBGYN appointment in February 10th, 2021, and asking Farwell to help shovel out her car during the impending storm. I think this is a good place to stop. Am I not sharing? Was I not sharing that whole time? Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that's a good place to stop, and I will finish tomorrow. But yeah, pretty telling stuff. It's a sad case, and I don't know. I feel like so many things about this. It's just infuriating, but I hope everybody's having a nice week. I hope it's sunny and warm everywhere else, because it's sunny and hot here. It's starting to get really hot, and my air conditioner's already on, which is not a good sign for the bills. But yeah, I don't have anything else for you today, so don't forget to like and subscribe, and I really appreciate you coming and joining me and watching my videos. So again, like and subscribe, and I will see you again tomorrow. All right, ciao for now.